Hello, and welcome back, everybody. Here we are with another episode of H Unleashed. Today will be quite an interesting episode. This is definitely going into more of the drug scene of my life, and I guess a little example of how I was taken advantage of during this time and just certain things it would lead to. But on the other hand, I hope you guys are doing well today. I'm really glad to be back with another one. So, yeah. I hope you have another great week and let's get into it. This episode, Drugged at 17 Years Old. If you've seen my previous episodes, you would know I've already been... I just realised I was going to say something in the beginning, but don't mind my outfit. I'm like feeling super chill with the vibe. I'm just wanting to feel all cozy while I tell this, horrid story that I had to go through. But yeah, so if you want to get comfy with me, do that, because I don't know if it's going to be a long one. I think it might be. There's a little bit to it, so... There's a little intermission break. Go get your snacks, go get your drink, go get the feel-good energy for the shitty energy we're about to discuss. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, yes, if you've seen my previous episodes, you would know that, again, been dabbling around that stuff. I mentioned that I had a girlfriend and her next-door neighbour got me and my friend involved in a bit harder things, drugs-wise. So, trigger warning, I'm going to be talking about, obviously, getting drugged, drugs, hard drugs, and obviously being taken advantage of. So, if you're not ready for that, don't continue this episode. But yes, anyway, so we're with my girlfriend's next-door neighbour. This particular day, we had gotten onto the harder drugs, ice, and, we were just having an ordinary day at this girl's house, having drugs and just having fun. Eventually it got to a point where we did run out, and this next door neighbour obviously had a lot of connections, or just knew a lot of people in that world of life, should I say. She had someone that was pretty close by. I had never met this man. She invited him over, and I don't remember if he was a dealer himself or if he was just a big person with lots of drugs. But yes, he had, variety of things. And he ended up joining us, and we hung out for most of the day. It was a long day. But obviously when you're on that stuff, everything's sped up, everything goes pretty quickly. You're just busy the whole time, like just hyperactive. Eventually it got to that night, and so my girlfriend lived next door to the neighbour that was doing this stuff, or getting us involved in this stuff. So I have a feeling she may have gone home, or she might have gone to her partner's house. Can't remember. But either way, I stayed back at the neighbour's house, and my friend had left, so it was just me and the neighbour and this guy. So the neighbour was a bit of a user, so she was probably a bit more... used to the drugs, and it probably wouldn't last on her for as long as it would for someone that's pretty new to it. So eventually she did head off to bed. Oh God, it's just like such a crazy thing. Just remembering some things. Anyway, she ended up going to bed, and I wanted to keep partying. I was still ready to keep having fun, and so I stayed up with this guy I barely knew, and eventually it got to a point where we had run out of stuff. Yeah, so he says to me that he'll just duck back to his house quickly and get some more stuff. He did. And he came back. And long story short, he didn't have ice, which was what we were having all day, but he had pills. And he told me that these pills gave you the same effect as what ice did. So pretty much he's trying to tell me that these pingers are going to make me really hyperactive, like really alert, really awake, like, you know, just the same effect as ice, have a lot of energy. So I took one. After about, he said give it about 10-15 minutes, so I did that. I still wasn't really feeling anything, so I was like, you know, these are pretty shit. He then gave me another one. So I had the second one. And I just remember we were sitting on the neighbour's couch. And it's a small couch. It's maybe like a 3-seater couch, so it's not big at all. I was on one end, he was on the other. I think we were just watching the TV or music videos, I don't know. And next thing I can remember is like I'm just going in and out. So I could barely keep my eyes awake. I just remember, like, again, just having my eyes, like, just nodding off and then waking up and, like, jerking myself back, like, oh, shit, like, what's happening? Like, I'm falling asleep. And then I don't even reckon it was 10 minutes. I passed out, sitting up, with nothing but a pillow, just on me, you know, a little pillow. And I remember waking up really early in the morning and I was in a completely different position. I didn't wake up to it. I didn't remember a thing. I have no idea what happened, but I woke up laying down under a blanket and with a proper pillow under my head. So I wasn't just, you know, I didn't just fall over and like pass out and like do it myself. Like clearly someone had put me down. Yeah, look, I woke up very confused. I was questioning what had happened and if he had done anything to me without my knowledge, because I quite literally could not remember a thing. I didn't even know how I ended up, how I did. Yeah. He was still there and I don't know, he had to go somewhere and he was talking about taking Chloe's car. Actually, whatever, it doesn't matter. No one knows who it is. The neighbour's name was Chloe. My bad. I'm too lazy to beep it, so whatever. I'm just going to call her Chloe now. So she was still sleeping, and this guy he just needed to go somewhere, and I don't even think he had a license. He obviously didn't have his own car. Like, he was, you know, a drug person. He didn't have shit. So he decided to take her keys and her car, and he said he would be right back. And I did not feel good about the situation. I didn't approve it. It was my car. Like, it was just, I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm just so confused. And Chloe eventually woke back up, and her car wasn't there. And by this point, it had been over 2 hours. Yeah, so she ended up... Oh, sorry, I just need to move my phone because someone's trying to call me. She ended up reporting her car stolen, and I know they eventually did find the car. I don't know if it was straight away or it was a couple of days, but yeah. So that happened. And just keep that story in mind, because that is going to come into a future story with my abusive ex-partner that had the wife. That story with the car. Yeah, so just keep that in mind as well. Yeah, so after this night, it's now the next day, I obviously went home. Maybe I'll make this a 2-part series, I don't know. Or maybe I'll just make it the one, I don't know. No, fuck it, I'm just going to make it the one video. I reached out to somebody that day, and I had told him what had happened to me the night before. He was someone that ran a car group, he was someone that ran the car group. He was like the head honcho. He was well known in our town. So I reached out to him and told him. And I even said, like, I don't know if he did anything to me, blah, 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 whatever. I'm gonna be discussing sexual assault, so a little trigger warning if you are still watching this, because I don't think I gave a trigger warning for that earlier. So he just said to me over message, like, what if you just come over to my house and we just have a couple of cones, like weed, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, and we can just chill out and forget what had happened the night before, or like just distract you. I was like, you know what, why not? I fucking need it. Like, I just wanted to chill. He picked me up and he had to get stuff for himself, ice, because he wanted some or something, I don't know. So we had to go on a mission and cross country to fucking get that for him. But we eventually did, and I don't think it was very much. It wasn't much at all. We get back to his house. Mind you, I've never been to his house. Didn't know anyone, didn't realise he lived with people, but he lived with people, a gentleman and a woman. And we went into his room to smoke weed, just to find out that he had no weed. I don't even think he had a bong. Oh wait, no, actually, no, I think there was a bong, but not in his room. But his whole reasoning for me going over there was to have cones and chill and to forget about the night. So obviously going into this room, not having any weed there, I was kind of like, what's going on? I'm very confused. He pulls out his glass tube or pipe, whatever you want to call it, and he started smoking the ice. He handed it to me and I just had one puff and that was it. If you know anything about it, if you're someone that's somewhat using, which I was at the time, one puff, you may as well just breathe in air. Like, it literally did nothing for me. Like, I was not high at all. I was sober. And he then continued smoking. I was still confused. Like, where are the cones? Maybe it's after this? Like, I don't know. Everyone's different. there were no cones. I just... that's my cat, if you hear that. Sorry. Sorry, that's like really hard. I just remember he like pushed me down on the bed and kind of just started forcing himself on me, and you know, I was saying no, I was pulling away, I was trying to stop him, and he wasn't listening. Eventually got my clothes off, and just remember, I'm sober while this man is high on ice. So I remember looking at the time, and you might possibly think bullshit when I say this, but I checked the time when it started, and I also checked the time when it finally finished. And my cat is being really difficult right now. It started about 9 p.m. and it didn't stop until 6 a.m. I was assaulted and raped for 9 hours. I was lured to a house with the promise of something that was non-existent. I remember in the morning I met his roommate, and he was really odd. He was an odd boy. And I think he had cones, and, you know, he gave me a couple before I left. And I later found out that he was a convicted pedophile. I was raped for 9 hours inside a convicted pedophile's house a day after being drugged and not knowing if I was assaulted then as well. I remember as well, like, I wasn't strong enough to go to the cops about it, but I do remember on my 18th birthday, so I would have been 17 when all this happened, which means I would have been underage when both of these men assaulted, well, one definite, one unknown, but he still drugged me. When these two men did these things to me. And on my 18th birthday, I was living with a friend who was a part of that car club. And it's probably like one of the hardest or most hurtful things I've probably ever experienced from a friend. She knew what that person had done to me. I don't know if she knew all the details or the extent of it, but she knew that that man had assaulted me. And raped me, and on my 18th birthday they decided, or they had already pre-planned, should I say, a car meeting at our house, or her house, should I say, which was technically mine as well at the time. Yeah. She invited my rapist to our house, and the meeting was on my birthday. Yeah. Fuck. It's weird, like, I can have more stories and things that lead on from this, and that assault, and I will say something though. Obviously, after I was raped and assaulted, I went and got an STD check because he didn't use protection. And I probably won't go too much into detail with this because it is going to be another story time, but with my abusive ex, it hadn't even been a week from my test result. I think it might have been like 5 days, and he kind of pressured me into having sex. Again, I know it sounds really fast, but you will understand once I start talking about that situation why it was so fast. But yeah, again, he pressured me into sex on the second day of knowing him, and again, didn't use protection. And so when I did get my result back and I was positive for chlamydia from my rapist, I then had to tell my new partner that I had tested positive as well. And yeah, that didn't go down very well, even though, again, I was the victim. You would think that would be a red flag in itself, but no. Or the fact that he forced me, pressured me to have sex. Yeah, just a lot of things. Yeah, so a lot. I think around this time period of my life, like, things were happening, like, one thing after the other. Like, I barely had a break, and I honestly don't know how I survived that period of my life. Like, it was full on and never ending. It's definitely broke me as a person. I was very lost, and I mean, I was probably the perfect victim for my, abusive ex, so that's probably why he chose me. But yeah, it didn't go down very well. Yeah, so I guess that's my story time of my first experience being drugged and raped, I guess. I know I'm not the only person that's probably been through something like this. Like, obviously, no one's situation is identical, but I know I would not be the only person that has been through something like this, or, my heart just really goes out to victims of, drugging and assault, rape, everything, narcissistic men, abusive men, just, again, everything. I just want you to know, if you are someone that has been through something like that, it doesn't have to be your reality for life. And again, there are so many beautiful souls out there and people that will love you wholeheartedly and give you everything you deserve. You don't deserve that bullshit. If you're hanging around those type of people and you do want to break that cycle, I even highly encourage you to reach out to me. Like, I would be more than willing to help somebody. That is my goal here. I just want everyone to know it will be okay and things do get easier. It still doesn't stop the fact that it lives with you and that it's always going to be something in the back of your mind, but if you're willing to do it. I'm sorry if I've moved. I actually did a fuck up and didn't delete my old clips. Sorry, I ran out of storage. Whoops. But as I was saying, I don't remember what I was saying, but God, I'm smooth. Stop it. No, but yeah, I just want you to know everything's going to be okay. If you want to reach out or if you know someone that needs help, I'm always more than willing to help and, give advice or, personal experience sort of stuff or try and put you in the right direction. But yeah, I also want to say, if you have been a drug user and have stopped, I just want to say how much I really admire you, because I know that shit is not easy. Sorry, my throat's so weird from COVID. I apologize. It really makes me lost for words knowing, people have done that. And, if you're someone that does still use and you're on that journey, or if you're not on that journey but want to, just know it's not impossible. And fuck, girl, you can do anything. Or fucking whoever you are, you can do anything. I'm proud of you too, and I believe in you. But yeah, that's all I've got for today's episode, guys. I know it was really like a lot, but it feels good to get it off my chest. I definitely didn't name my abuser though, because again, with all my abusers, I don't know if I'm going to eventually pursue something with that, so I'd just rather leave names out of it. If I can eventually name people, be sure as hell I will be. Until next time, guys, I hope you do well and stay safe, and I will see you guys then. Okay, bye guys, bye.